Given that nearly half of his parliamentary colleagues, including 2/3 of his Liberal backbenchers, have today expressed a lack of confidence in the Prime Minister, how can the Prime Minister claim to have a mandate for this country?
This Prime Minister and this government did win an election, and that is the mandate that we are carrying out.
Is the Prime Minister planning to abandon any of his budget measures, or is he just planning to abandon his Treasurer as he did at the press conference today?
I stand by my Treasurer. I stand by my team. I stand by my Treasurer, and I stand by my team. The kind of fiscal responsibility and frugality that the Australian people need is being delivered by this government and this Treasurer.
I refer to the Liberal member for Brisbane's perceptive comments yesterday, and I quote, "We cannot govern ourselves in an internal climate of fear and intimidation, and that's an unacceptable situation we've endured for the past 5 years." Does the Prime Minister agree with the member for Brisbane?
I certainly agree that it's time to get on with government. It is time to get on with government, and that is exactly what we are doing with a new families package that will focus on childcare. We have a plan to improve our economy. All members opposite have is one long, loud complaint. No answers, just a complaint.
My question is to the Minister for Communications. Minister, why are you still on the front bench?
That question is not in order.
Madam Speaker, under practice, the Minister can be questioned on matters for which he or she is responsible or officially connected. If he's not responsible for his own role on the front bench, what's the point of question time at all?
There's no point of order. I call the honourable member for Banks.
I move that so much of standing and sessional orders be suspended as would prevent the Leader of the Opposition from moving the following motion forthwith, that this House has no confidence in the Prime Minister. There have been many promises broken by this government, but the promise to run a stable and mature government is arguably the biggest broken promise of this sad government's last 17 months. The problem with this government is you brought down a budget which broke all the promises you said you would do. They broke their promises. No new taxes, tell that to the people paying new taxes. No cuts to education, tell that to the states losing their funding for schools. Remember the promise about no changes to health, tell that to the people paying the GP tax. This nation doesn't need a new Liberal leader, it needs a new government.
We are not going to take lessons in unity from a Leader of the Opposition who backstabbed 2 Prime Ministers. A Leader of the Opposition who backstabbed 2 Prime Ministers. Sure, this government hasn't got everything right. Sure, this government doesn't pretend to be perfect. But, Madam Speaker, what this government has not done, we have not wasted billions of dollars, we have not put hundreds of lives at risk, and we have not jeopardised Australia's vital international relationships. What we saw from this Leader of the Opposition was the kind of cheap sneer and smear which proves that the Labor Party has not learned any lessons. It is in denial about what it did when it was in government. It wasn't just the fiscal ineptitude, it was the utter administrative incompetence of members opposite. They spent $2.5 billion putting pink bats into people's rooms. That kills people, and then they spent the money pulling them out. The Leader of the Opposition says, what about getting on with building submarines? Well, Madam Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition's contribution to the submarine debate was to go out there and engage in cheap, racist ranting against the people of Japan. That was the Leader of the Opposition's contribution. Madam Speaker, if it pleases the Leader of the Opposition, I withdraw. But, Madam Speaker,